Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast. We're here with your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 vs 1 on Sturzdorf. Yes, indeed, in Sturzdorf, the ruins of some industrial town. Two forces shall be clashing. In the southern half, we shall be seeing WMDTommy again, fighting for the Americans. Fighting for the 15th Infantry Division. Opposing him shall be also WMDHelpinghans, fighting for the Wehrmacht, fighting for the 112th Panzer Brigade. And we are already seeing here, Tommy is going for a rather heavy engineer start. 3 or 4, though, is the question. He's going straight for these points as well. In the meanwhile, Hans is, taking more casually. Just going for 2 at Pioneers because, he's cool like that. Well, not really. Better known for raging, but anyways. Starting up with a Volksgrenadier squad. And looks like Tommy, our good Tommy, is starting out with the 4 engineer starts. Of course, he's hoping to seize as much territory on the map, thus denying it to Hans, of course, forcing Hans to fight for even more territory initially. Of course, the slight issue can, of course, then be he's not, going to have a lot of infantry. In fact, he's not even starting out with a barracks. I think he sort of realised, oh, whoops, I'd best get up a barracks. Just in case the Hun actually decides to shoot up with some guys with rifles. Silly, I know, ain't it? Anyways, we are seeing the engineers quickly coming under fire. The Volksgrenadiers moving in. The Karnak take case. Sound throughout the night. Well, not night, the day. Breaking the silence with German shouts of Schnell, Schnell, die Amerikaner. And laying down some barbed wire here. Of course, one thing to note, you usually always want to sort of lay one more phasing off this area, otherwise they're just going to sneak past the barbed wire, because again, that's sort of the problem with wiring off close to the edges of the map. It's a bit of a pain in the arse. We are seeing Pioneers moving up. We are seeing a MG42 on the way next. Engineers here run off. Oh dear, Larry went down. Caught up in some barbed wire by the victory point. Poor Larry. His high school yearbook did also say most likely to die by a gut shot near some barbed wire. And we're seeing engineers pushing up through the center. Barracks up, jolly good Tommy, going off for these as well, securing a lot of munitions there, that's also good. In fact, interestingly enough, Hans is not bothering with these, he's rather more intently focused on the west, perhaps because it's closer to his own base, I'm not sure. Usually you still see on Sturzdorf, more of a rush towards these, towards the high fuel. And of course, the high munitions, but Hans isn't even bothering with the high munitions, that's highly irregular, to say the least. Instead, he's again focusing down here on making this a small fortress, eine kleines Festung. Volksgrenadiers now continue to move out. MG42 moving up as well, and we are seeing what could be an engagement right here in the center. Rifle moving up, a rush for the administrative building of this little place here. There we go. Volksgrenadiers immediately, of course, laying down sandbags again. Nice usage of his Volksgrenadiers to actually lay down fortifications, sandbags, barbed wire, all that. Again, not all players do that, and again, it can really make a huge difference if used properly. It can really make it much more difficult for the opponent to do anything. So, jolly good move there by Hans. Of course, immediately it forces away Tommy, but then again, we're going to see a bit of rushing back and forth, because again, he's hoping to draw him in, and of course, it's not going to work. Hans is just going to pull back towards the heavy cover, and again, now being attacking the house from numerous positions. This is not going to work out very well for Tommy in the long run. We are seeing Rifle though sneaking up, hoping to clear in, and oh, he managed actually there, so never mind me. His flanking attempt, of course, will be stopped. Small engagement over engineers, and of course, further pressure up here. The rest of Tommy's engineers are making a pretty large engineer saunter over towards these Rifle and pulling back. One lost dead left in the building. You should be a little surprised as the Germans. And we are already seeing a mine out for Hans again. Pretty nice. Pretty again expectant. Again, middle of the road. Good, good. And there we go. It rather looks like, in fact, Tommy already has the majority of the map, which I imagine was rather what he intended with all those engineers. And of course, he's going to be pretty soon actually getting a lot of munitions. If he can get that, that means he actually will have both high munitions points. That, of course, means he's going to get an arse load of munitions compared to Hans. MG42 starting some engineers. No flanking attempt by the riflemen. Volksgrenadiers there to also protect and cover. And Deckung. Engineers have snuck in between Wehrmacht lines. Tommy pushes in towards the center. MG42. Ooh, riflemen do not get suppressed. We are seeing a push there, but of course the mine stops it. Excellent job. No losses though. A small relief for Tommy. Though again, his troops are going to be heavily wounded. He is going to need a medic station of some sort. And Pioneers go down to a flamethrower. Absolutely Pioneer barbecue. No mines though from Tommy. That could also be an advantage, you know, to mine all of this. In particular now he has 2 high munitions points plus all the other munitions points he does have. I mean, he's going to get an arse load of munitions. He's going to be swimming in it practically. Well, that is going to be a bit uncomfortable. And of course now we are seeing the trios end up because again, this squad is not really combat ready. It's low on health solo. In fact, if he goes out, he's just going to be handing over corpses to his opponent, practically. Could Tommy be mining off this area again? It would be a little nice trick. Again, mining, you know, as the American can make it much harder for the opponent to counterattack. And again, that's what you call an advantage, if you use it properly. Hanging about here. Rifleman already healed. Trio center healing goes pretty quickly. Nice to that. Again, still holding most of the map, but we are of course seeing Hansi pushing out. 3 Volksgrenadiers, 2 MGs. He's going for one of the more aggressive Wehrmacht starts. Although again, it's not going to be completely, you know, defenseless towards Riflemen either. With in particular if they get BARs. So again, a pretty solid start. We are seeing the skirmish phase up. Small engagement here, and Hans he's in fact going in for Tommy's base. And again, this is a weakness in the southern Sturzdorf base. You can move in fact here, but I mean, I'll just briefly pause, not for long though. There's an even easier little trick up here. In fact, for the northern base, you can sneak up here and get right behind the enemy lines, and there will be absolutely no MGs to stop you. Again, it's not something a lot of people know, but it is a little trick. So for example, if you are the Americans in the south, if you are really clever, you could try sneaking in some engineers with a demo charge and then begin blowing up shit. I mean, stuff. So there's a little quick one for you. But again, here sneaking up, opening up with the machine gun emplacement. In the meanwhile, we are seeing, of course, more fighting here. Tommy trying to push up. Still no mines for Tommy, though. Another rifleman squad out for him at the same time. More Volksgrenadiers moving in. Machine gun emplacement is going to go down any second. We might be seeing possibly some more upgrades. He might in fact be going for the BAR upgrade considering all the Volksgrenadiers. And meanwhile we are seeing the Krieg barracks going up.
We are losing ground.
And Tommy's in fact ignoring the assault on his base. He's just going in straight for the rest of the munitions. Again, he's going for a rather high amount of resources now. In the meanwhile, Hans is actually moving into his base. Hans is inside the base going, haha, silly American. Or in this case, silly Tommy. Again, more mines from Hans. We love to see mines, don't we, Hansi? Wehrmacht troops pushing in, although in this case the MG was very close to getting, but no, not quite. Not quite. Mine goes off. Engineers heavily wounded. Rifleman getting gunned down, but we are seeing a nice flank right there. The MG-42 is going to get pushed away for the Fatherland Gap. Hans has gone defensive. Although perhaps something more aggressive could also have worked. And of course this rather large flanking maneuver, which could in fact catch him on his retreat path, has of course quickly forced Hans to pull out his troops of Tommy's base. Although again the counter maneuver is getting stopped by the MG-42. Hans is prepared, although Tommy's rifle in fact here could be in large trouble. They're down to 3 men, very little health. Volksgrenadiers moving in. Get them back, Tommy, get them back safely. Troops are moving in. MGs, lots of flamethrowers. Hans is trying his best. Rifleman squad went down for Tommy. Oh, the inhumanity. More for the Fatherland goes up. MG getting hammered. It does provide a bit of protection, but it's not going to make them invincible. There we go. In fact, we are seeing a full retreat. Of course, for the Fatherland now, it's going to ensure they suffer the least on the retreat, but still some losses are incurred. But oh, definitely not looking too good for Tommy right there. He did lose one rifleman squad. That's going to hurt. In the meanwhile, we are seeing a Grenadier squad on the way. In fact, ready there, and a half-track, a Schützen Panzerwagen, which the Panzer Brigade would have had some, although the 112th was a second series and thus would have also had a lot more trucks. Moving up there. I'm still not seeing any mines from Tommy. I would like to see some mines because again, and I do emphasize this and stress this, it would make it much more painful for Hans to actually take it back. It could rather, you know, make a difference. But there we go, actually. He does try, but I think it's a bit too late in this case. Bit of a shame, Tommy. But at least you tried. Oh, there we go. Mines. Lovely. Lovely. Finally seeing some mines. Great stuff. Great stuff. Grenadiers under fire. More Volksgrenadiers moving up in the center. Did he actually finish the mine? And again, I mean, BARs in a building. I mean, nice precision again. The 2 BRs, of course, being light LMGs, can provide a lot more firepower. And there we go. Volksgrenadiers, heavy losses, down to 1 man. Helmut being the only survivor. And again, that's why you as American, want to lay down mines. It's going to make it much more difficult for your opponent to push on him. Note, Hans barely has anything left on the map, although with a half-track, he should be able to effectuate a decent counter-attack. And we are seeing a weapon support center going up for Tommy. In fact, it's time to have a look at him. 3 rifleman squads, 4 engineer squads, 1 definitely not in a happy condition. Weapon support center going up, and he's going straight for a sniper. Half-track moving up, MG moving up, Grenadiers. Hans is pretty much sort of figuring the main assault's going to come here, though again, I mean, Tommy has been sort of good in, actually not striking directly from the front, but instead using that wide frontage he's actually managed to secure and hit Hans from the flank. Or again, mines here would have been nice. In fact, note, he's got 170 munitions. Again, those 2 munitions points he has, those 2 high munitions points, are giving him an arse-load of munitions. And we are really talking an arse-load. And again, Hans is pushing on pretty aggressively. Half-track providing in some light fire support. The Schützenpanzerwagen. And he's moving in for another base assault. Grenadiers. And we are seeing veterans up for the Grenadiers as well. And there we go. The sniper, he has been revealed. Helmut shot through the head. The rest sent packing home to the fatherland. Damn Krauts. And there we go. More mines. I do think Tommy is a bit late. Just a bit, but he's also got an infantry himself, so we are going to be seeing the 2 of the more slower doctrines from either side going on at each other. But again, Tommy is going to have the advantage of more offensive play, of course, with the artillery. Of course, his infantry, if he also goes for that, can actually lay down mines, which again could be a nice move. But it doesn't actually seem like Hans is bothering with minesweepers. Hans is, though, at the same time, though, bothering with anti-tank guns. The Panzer Abwehrkanone, driving the flying from the woodlands. Volksgrenadiers half-track moving up. Oh dear, the sniper continues being a nuisance. And again, just moves about invisibly. That is one thing I really hope to see differently done in Company Heroes 2. Snipers. I mean, we already know they will have 2-man squads. So, I mean, that could definitely indicate they will be a bit different. Rifleman under fire. 2 Volksgrenadier squads have moved in to intercept them. Rifleman pulling back. 1 already dropped. Pulling up behind some heavier cover in embankment. This is definitely not going to well. In the meanwhile, the assault here has stalled due to intense machine gun fire. Sniper moving up, though. Sticky bombs ready. He's really going to go in for that half-track, and there we go. Flame for assault. Pushes away all the Volksgrenadiers. Grenadiers were trying to rush in, but they are simply not enough. Hans is making a light recovery, but again, the sort of rather sweeping maneuver that Tommy did pull off. Really, oh, mine hit, half-track disabled, destroyed engine. And there, of course, again, nice little trick you can do with a half-track. I mean, in terms of manning it, use pioneers. That way, if you get damaged, you can quickly pop them up and repair it. So again, nice little trick for using half-tracks. The same could be done, with an American half-track. Grenadiers are advancing on the sniper. Careful, Tommy, careful. Nobody likes a sniper, in particular if you can catch them. Grenadiers, oh, bit unfortunate there for Hans. We are again seeing the Volksgrenadiers rushing in. No MP40s, MG42 could be a bit closer. Half-track could also be rushed in, but again with sticky bombs, which of course he doesn't know about, he's going to have a slightly more trouble. Supply ad going up. Nice move, Tommy. Nice move. What we like to see. Engineer squad, I think, went down. Yes. Mine goes off. Oh, destroyed engine. Riflemen moving in, they're going to be covering it in their dirty socks as if though it was a laundry van. And for some reason, again, I'm thinking of Saving Private Ryan where they were using socks. I think that was rather the sticky bomb here's Molon. But we are seeing the pioneers being rushed off. A loss for Hansi. Mines going down again. Great. He could also be laying down a mine right here. Good spot. Again, it is a sort of, transit choke point. I mean, you really need to get through here or here. And again, so mining this would be a huge advantage. And again, there's a sort of thing, I think, mentally, the closer you get to your opponent's base, the less likely he's actually expecting mines. That's sort of, at least an observation I made. We are seeing Veteran T2 up for the infantry. Definitely going to be needed with the Veteran T2 infantry. I mean, the BARs, Although it is going to make it much easier for the sniper to deal with the Grenadiers. We are at the same time seeing a bunker up. Placement of the bunker is
taking Berlin by Christmas.
I'd not recommend it here. I mean, up here, for example, or, you know, not quite in front of where Tommy can see. Oh, right, that's my target. Let's go, man. Let's crush some Gary bunkers. I mean, again, sort of slightly out of the line of sight of the opponent, yet still close to the front line. Is sort of the best placement of the medic bunker. It still retains closeness, but it's not going to be such an easy target. This, on the other hand, is a bit of an easier target. Mine still going off. Volksgrenadier taking losses. Flamethrowers moving up. Sniper fire opening up as well. MG42 is probably going to suffer in the wrath of the sniper. Attack stalling a bit, but they are pushing on. Medics moving up. MG42s. Hans is providing a Schwerpunkt right there with 2 MG42s. Veteran T1 for these two would actually make them much more lethal. Riflemen need to retreat. Medic station for Tommy, by the way, with all these troops would also be a nice idea. Tank depot up though. Grenades now ready. Oh dearie me. And he's probably going to flank that MG42 with a grenade. Oh no, there we go. Grenade. Granate. And there we go. The MG has been cleared out, but we are seeing the MG number 2 turning about, but it could be no. Infantry has turned off the assault by Tommy, and again now the east is also largely open. We are seeing troops moving in, and again largely no mine tracks to sort of stop them. Which again I think is a bit of a shame for Tommy. We are seeing the Sherman coming out, although Hans is going to be ready for it to a certain extent. He's going to have the pack and of course the Panzerschreck. So that is going to be a bit of a disadvantage to Tommy. Well, again, using this Sherman on the flanks could work out quite nicely, would again force Hans to spread out. And again, Hans is largely focusing all of his defenses here, which of course means he can't defend the rest, and I rather think that's where Tommy should continue to push. Sniper continues killing. Ooh, gets more medics. What an evil sniper. And we are seeing a Sherman moving out, the M4 Sherman, 50 caliber on the way. Points being secured right there, lovely, lovely. Crushing the half track, don't want that crap trash littering our beautiful woods. Sherman moving in, nice hit. Sniper against Veteran T2, Rifleman moving in, probably going to try to take up position in the building, that's going to work out. We are seeing for the far end up, very close to getting some artillery, that could definitely ease up an assault. No sniper from Hans, apparently doesn't feel much threat. Oh, we are seeing a Panzer Command. The Panzer Brigade is pulling in his armor. Engineers coming out of assault here. We are seeing mines from Hans up there by the well. That's nice. Sherman keeps killing. Sniper not getting off any shots. Pushing in. He's finding the... Oh, he's finding the pack. Jolly good. MG42 though is stopping the rifleman. And we are seeing a grenade, but... Oh, not far enough. Not far enough. Rifleman hitting the flank and of course... Come on. Get the MG, Tommy, there we go. Riflemen continue, hitting the flank. Infantry getting right in front of the Sherman. Sherman blasting away, murdering numerous Germans. Grenade on the second MG42. MG42 almost down. This is a huge clump up. If only Tommy had a mortar, he could really do a lot of damage here. I mean, absolutely insane damage. But sadly, Tommy did not have a mortar and not quite enough artillery either, otherwise he could have caused a full retreat right there on Hans. Very close right there, very bloody close. Instead getting a second sniper to try and increase the manpower pressure on poor Hans. Sherman though moving eastwards. 15th Infantry Division is running into a bit of problem with the Panzer Brigade, counter-attacking viciously. More Grenadiers arriving. And there we go, the Panzer Command is up. In terms of structure, Panzer Brigade was sort of closer to it in size, half a division. They were sort of meant like a more formalized Kampfgruppe structure to essentially just quickly counterattack. They were not, you know, much that large. They didn't have, for example, a lot of artillery, a lot of support, a lot of reconnaissance. I mean, they were a rather much more bare-bones thing to just attack. And they were more specifically designed for attacking Soviets, because the Soviets, you know, had communication problems and were a bit, you know, more reckless. And they generally did work better against them than the Americans. But they were quite an interesting formation. Again, this sort of panzer equivalent to the Volksgrenadiers. Lots of equipment, but not a lot of training. Rifle and sniper charging in, getting suppressed. Sherman moving in, could be heading in the flank. Oh, he could get artillery now in. Although again, there's not really got to think to it. And there we go. The MG's gone. We are seeing a Goliath moving up. The Goliath is moving in. And there we go. Artillery on the pack. Riflemen need to get out there. Oh, mine goes off. More riflemen pushing up. They're getting suppressed by another MG42. Pack. Not really doing too well. I think a medic got killed by artillery. And there we go. The pack is destroyed. Whoops, my apologies. I was trying to actually click on the Sherman to show it was actually heavily damaged in the process. So can't pull in yet because one Panzer strike hit or even a Panzerfaust is going to knock it out. Sadly, Tommy does not possess the forces to actually push on. In this case, which is a bit of a shame. Sherman, though, is getting repaired, which is something. German infantry pushing in. Snipers might want to get off a few more shots. But again, 2 snipers is a very nasty thing. Since 2 shots and they can, in fact, knock out entire Grenadier squad. Instead he goes after the Volksgrenadiers. Might have recommended the Grenadiers since they are, of course, the much more valuable target.
Are winning the battle. Get back in the fight.
Germans are pulling back, though Hans is playing somewhat conservatively. But again, I mean, it is helping that Tommy's suddenly sort of given up on, you know, the more sweeping strikes in the east. He's again focusing right here on the strong point of Hans. He wants to crush it. He wants to destroy it. And that could in fact be his demise, because again that's going to be much more costly for him, and again it's going to be much more advantageous to Hans. We are seeing the snipers moving in. Troops are getting sniped, riflemen getting shot up at the same time. MG42 secured, though we'll be able to get away with it. Looking very unlikely. Grenade goes off. MG42 retreating, in fact. No, he lost it. He lost it on the retreat. Snipers need to keep killing. Grenadiers moving up, trying to get the Sherman. Ooh, not really looking too good for Tommy at the moment. Grenadiers moving in. More heavy Sherman fire, the 50 caliber roaring above their heads. And all 3 victory points are in the hands of the Panzer Brigade, the Hans.
I have everything but a target.
And already a veteran G3 sniper. That's definitely not what you usually want to be seeing, because again, a veteran G3 sniper can run around while cloaked. That's very difficult to deal with as a German. Looks like we are seeing the first Panzer, the Panzer Kampfwagen 4, which the Panzer Brigades of the 2nd Series, that is 110th and above, actually had larger variants. They did have some Panthers, but not quite as many as they could have, like the earlier ones. But we are seeing the Panzer 4 moving in, the Panzer Kampfwagen 4. No veteran fought yet, though. Sniper fire. Grenadiers are suffering a bit right there. Hans getting a bit aggressive. Nice to see Hans. No veterancy on the way anytime, though. And there we go, mine hit. And now we are again seeing a push up here, since again now Hans is largely occupied over here. So apparently Tommy figures it's time for moving in here. Troops getting sniped. Rifleman getting stuck by the MG. Probably trying to get that MG himself with his own sniper. There we go. In fact, Hans is down to 1 sniper. That's definitely going to be the advantage of Tommy. There we go. MG is going to need to get out there very quickly. Veteran G1 falling, by the way, could move Hans, increases accuracy, makes it much more lethal. And we are seeing quickly the Panzers are moving in with Grenadier support for the far land goes up. A bit of a desperate situation. There's not really much Hans can do to really stop this, because again, any infantry moving in will quickly be torn to bits by the snipers. His Panzer IV does have a chance, but on its own it is very likely to get overwhelmed by infantry.
Supply lines are broken. We have territory out of supply.
And there we go, he's actually getting a mortar. Brilliant! He's probably going to be hammering away at that medic bunker. There we go, Panzer IV moving in. And a nice high explosive rounds blows up Larry.
The Huns are taking our territory.
Push up here on the western flank again. Panzer IV and Volksgrenadier stop that attempt.
Victory point under siege. The Germans are moving in.
And a nice attempt here by Hans to actually wire this off. Thus
We're down to 300
making it necessary to have engineers. Did he have this? Oh, not quite. Bit of a shame still. Quickly the Grenadiers run off. And again now Tommy is shifting. About time. Tank destroyers actually arriving. Send that in with the Sherman. That's definitely going to help against any panzers. Still no veterans forward. Oh, he actually went after the pioneers. Interesting enough, he's probably trying to cause a quick pioneer squad death. Crushing the wire with his Wolverine. The situation has much more stabilized. In fact, it's time to have a look at Hans again. My apologies. Hans is definitely, though, doing better. Mine goes off, wounding him some Volksgrenadiers. Mortar getting assaulted. Sherman, though, is arriving to save the day. Volksgrenadiers suffering heavy losses to sniper fire. Ooh, another mine goes off the Grenadier. Oh, sniper fire as well. Heavy losses to the Grenadiers, although we could, of course, also see a registered artillery barrage from Hans, which could really do a lot of damage if properly used. But apparently that's not within the Hans vocabulary of the day. Probably going to get another tank destroyer to deal with those panzers. Still no veterancy, but again he also has a lot of infantry to actually replace constantly. I mean, the manpower cost of that is quite high, because again those snipers really drain out the life of Hans. So it's not too surprising. Another push, another assault. Lots of munitions now for Hans. He could get an LMG perhaps. Die Leichtsinns Maschinengewehr. Mortar opening up. Medics moving in. Probably going to get sniped. Though Hans has gotten his own sniper to try and deal with the Americans. Sniper Koenig moving in. And M10 tank destroyer getting hit right there in the rear. And the Panzer Force taking heavy damage. Why is the Sherman not pushing in? Why is it not adding to the fire? Oh dear, and there we go. Tank destroyer quickly decommissioned. I'm not sure again why Tommy just sent it in without any Sherman support to really help with the infantry. Troops running into the mine. Heavy losses, 50 caliber. Tears through the Volksgrenadiers. Grenadiers also in a poor condition. And he's not retreating him. He's actually trying to lure them in, but he's just revealed his own sniper. Oh, Hans. And now the medics quickly go down. And too bad Hans was not fast enough. We are seeing a second Panzer fall on the way. No veterans fought still, though. Grenadiers suffering to the Sherman. And the tank destroyer, I suppose, to a certain extent. More Grenadiers moving up on the flank. And there we go, 50 caliber moving through them. Tommy is suffering rifle losses. Snipers, though, aren't doing their best. Already 38 kills, my goodness. He's really been taking a toll on Hans's forces. But at the same time, it's not really been something that Tommy's been able to really exploit, I fear. Mortar, though, is heavily damaged. Not really a lot of kills, though he is hammering away at that one medic bunker, which again has provided Hans as proposed with the Grenadier Squad or 2. And there we go. Finally some veterancy for the Panzers. Rifle moving up here and quickly forced away. Too many Volksgrenadiers for their liking. There we go. Medic bunker is down. And there we go. Sniper for on the MG and the Grenadiers, forcing those away. More tank destroyers for Tommy. Mine goes off right there, forcing away the riflemen. No medic station still. And I do believe we are seeing radius artillery right there. Yes, indeed. Bloody close on hitting the snipers, though. 40 kills. He's definitely going to earn himself a Medal of Honor. Although if he gets captured by the Germans, he's probably going to get a very severe beating. Oh, the artillery knocks out an entire Volksgrenadier squad. Definitely a bit painful. No on-map artillery, though, for Tommy. That could also be to his advantage. Or perhaps some rangers or an off-map combat group. Lots of opportunities right there for the good Sir Tommy. Panzer 4 getting repaired. Panzer 4 number 2 pulling away.
Field repairs complete. We are ready to close with the enemy.
Snipers are moving up.
Volt squad here. We are losing ground.
And there we go, Panzers are moving in, but so are the tank destroyers, so is the Sherman. And the Panzer Force rear are exposed. Oh dear, this Infantry 2 though, that's going to help against the infantry with the machine gun on top. And now the tank destroyers and the Shermans need to push in. They could get that sniper! Hans' sniper's getting caught out in the open. Oh, but the sniper misses. Still, come on, Tommy, push! Push! Los geht's! I mean, move it, man! Oh, I do think this is a huge missed opportunity by Tommy. He did not push in his armor to support that. Otherwise, he could probably gotten at least one tank and possibly also done some more damage to the infantry. Now, of course, the tanks are going to move in a bit more and support it again. Bit of a miss. Come on, move in that Sherman. Move it in. Deal with the infantry. And there we go. Tank destroyer down again. He should have moved in with the rest of it. Would have presented more targets. Would have made it harder to get out. Panzer 4 down. Come on. Oh, Tommy. Grenadiers down. 2 sniper shots. And there we go. Sherman finally moving in. Finally getting some kills. And then he moves it out again. At the same time, we are seeing the Sturzdorf, which was largely some of the only artillery a Panzer Brigade would have had. Alongside some mortar half-tracks. I mean, they did not really have a lot of artillery. So in that sense, strange enough, Hans actually fits the bill for the Panzer Brigade with his Wehrmacht play. Phew. Panzer 4, though heavily damaged again. Had Tommy been more aggressive, I do believe he could have gotten both Panzer 4s. Instead, he ended up with 2 wrecked tank destroyers and only 1 Panzer 4 to show for it. Not quite the most inspiring, but he is getting Veteran 2 for the Sherman. That does increase the armor penetration of its gun, which is definitely going to give it the advantage, but there we go. The Wurfrahmen, the Sturzdorf, blasting away. Not quite getting any targets now, are we though, Hans? Snipers moving out, the small death patrol. Trying to probably deal with those Grenadiers. Volksgrenadier and Grenadiers moving in there as well. And Tommy's doing his best to retake points. German sniper gets off a nice shot. 4 kills to him. Nothing compared though to his American comrades or counterparts. Another Sherman in arriving for Tommy. That's interesting. Would not have expected that from him since he's already gone so heavy on tank destroyers. Mortar keeps tracking. I don't really think this mortar's had any luck. I mean, it's been firing and firing and firing. It's all it's got to show for it is 1 dead bunker. Which I do feel is a bit unfortunate. Germans are being pushed away. Hans might go for another Panther 4. He might also go for a Panther. That would not be an entirely bad idea in this case. Flamethrowers moving in, Riflemen pushing forces away. Hans is without an MG. They've still got 3 Grenadier squads, 2 Volksgrenadiers, a sniper and Panzer, and some Sturzdorf fire. Sherman though is pushing in, and we are in fact seeing the gun upgrade, which essentially gives them more penetration but a slightly lower rate of fire. More raised artillery. Will the tank destroyers will they be moving in for the Panzer? No. I think Tommy's actually worrying about something from Hans. He's probably worrying he has a pack somewhere hiding, or Panzer or something. That's really my best guess. Otherwise, I mean, in this case, pushing in with the Panzers and the tank destroyer, I mean the Shermans, would really be the best choice. I mean, he could get this Panzer 4, which again would leave Hans without a tank, which would lead him largely more defensive against the Shermans. But there you go, the Panzer Force moving in. Tank destroyer needs to move out, and we are seeing a unit down. Not sure which unit though. Probably a Pioneer squad. Pushing a bit away there again. Tommy's not pushing it. Might be he's lost his courage. Oh, mine! Careful! Don't want to be too close to the mine. There we go. Away from it. Otherwise, he might have suffered a damaged engine himself, which would have been a bit embarrassing. Let's go have a look at Tommy. 2 rifleman squads, 2 snipers, one with 46 bloody kills. he could get an off-map combat group right about now, which could definitely help with his numerical problems and actually give him a force to attack with.
Reinforcements ready to roll.
I do believe we're seeing something from the Panzer Command. I will guess a Panther, partly due to the fact he was floating quite a bit of resources.
We're losing ground out.
Panzer IV moving up, half track. Artillery getting called in.
Enemy unit down.
Oh! Bugger, I think he got the Grenadiers. Still, no major push from Tommy again. Again, there's only a Panzer IV to really stop him. But apparently, in Tommy's mind, there must be at least a legion of Panthers right behind it. But now there's, of course, a Panther. Veteran 2 already, going to help a bit against the infantry. More rocket fire. These rifles need to consider getting away. Point secured. Again, Tommy's now holding all 3 victory points. Hans is moving on with his armour. Now a Panther supporting his slightly smaller Panzer IV. Crushing its way through the field. Sherman now a bit more exposed again, though. Had he gotten that Panzer IV earlier, that might only have been a Panther he needed to deal with. But now we are seeing a nice flanking attempt. Panzer IV exposing itself a bit. And again, very close to an off-map combat group. If you could get a few tank destroyers, you could probably make a nice splash in Hans's forces. Moving up here in the west, Grenadiers charging in. Snipers could also get off a good kick. Oh, nice hit by the Sherman. And again, it's probably going to get very close to Veteran 3 anytime soon. Grenadier squad down, Panzer wreck left behind. Oh dear. Panther moving in. This Sherman needs to get pulled back for repairs. This is probably his most valuable Sherman, because if he gets Veteran 3, that's definitely going to be a bit larger a problem. Troops are getting sniped, and Hans' son is suffering pretty high casualties amongst his Grenadiers. He's already lost 2 squads of them in a rather short amount of time. Other Sherman getting repaired, but I would definitely recommend getting this one repaired as well. Definitely much more valuable. And there we go, off-map combat group. I'm pretty sure this was not what he was anticipating. Of course, the anti-tank gun, though, is going to do well. Can deal with the Panzer IV and the Panther quite nicely. Here, machine guns could be used to hold the victory points, to hold the flanks. Alright. And of course, more infantry is more infantry. That's always good. Panther moving up. Ooh, careful now. Careful, Hans. Artillery. Oh, a heavy rocket barrage. No, Tommy. And the Sherman went down. Oh, that was just so sad. I do feel a bit sorry for Tommy right there. Although he could have moved it. Oh, no, he still didn't get a sniper. Now both of them veterans. If you want us 50 kills. Christ. That man's closer to taking out half a company on his own. 2 sticky bombs on the Panther, though. Damaged engine, but it is still functional, still workable. Of course, now with the 30 caliber protecting here, this is definitely going to be a bit harder for Hans to seize without actually having to divert larger forces towards it. In that sense, that's a role that a hand machine gun in later game can actually serve, just forcing opponents to weaken up elsewhere. Mortar, though, knocked out by the Stukas Fuss. In fact, he's probably getting a second one by the looks of it, just a half-tech for reinforcement purposes. And what remains of Hans's infantry, I think he's only got 2 Volksgrenadier squads left, one with a Panzerschreck. I have everything but a total. I mean, both sides are getting ground down, but I mean, I do think, again, Hans does have the slight advantage again due to the earlier passivity of Tommy when it came to deal with that Panzer IV, which means that Hans does hold the armor advantage. Which, of course, is a bit of a shame. But there we go, he still has an anti-tank gun. And if he can't get a good off-map combat group, he can definitely make it very painful for Hans. Sniper they're opening up on the anti-tank gun. Sherman advancing.
Being reported.
Volksgrenadier, oh, missed with a Panzer Brigade. And there we go, nice hit, killing 2 outright. Another one with a 50 caliber. The situation is a bit, you know, less bright for Tommy. Again, a more solid push up the right flank would serve him better. But again, I think he's sort of trying now to just, you know, crush the backbone of France, and in that way hope that Hans simply can't regain his forces to counterattack, because again, that is, I suppose, the threat of doing this one. I mean, Hans, he can still, you know, pose a threat in the counterattack, but again, in this sort of sense, I mean, Hans holds the advantage. The German tank was generally better enough stand-up fight. I mean, frontal fight, the German armor always had the advantage because they were built for it.
Front shifting.
American armor doctrine did not really specify that. So that is rather where things get slightly against Tommy. And now, of course, 2 Stukas, whose veterans you want for those. Panther moves in. Anti-tank, I'm going to get sorted out. And off-map combat group. No supply upgrades.
Sector
Tommy. No supply upgrade. That would have been nice, though. Slightly more offensive, but he's a bit lacking in armor. More specifically, something to deal with the armor. Infantry moving in, but suffering under heavy fire from the Panther. Lots of machine gun fire from the 2 Panzers, in fact. High explosive rounds fly through the air as Riflemen try to advance. Tank destroyers rolling in. Pioneers going down. Oh! Half tracks are exposed, so they are easy targets. Panther now, they're opening up with a few shots. Heavy damage, heavy damage. And Tommy's constantly shifting targets. That's less go with artillery. Second Panzer IV moves in. Bit of a cluster brouhaha. Tank destroyer moving up on the flank. Artillery doesn't do much. Bit of a shame there. He could have done a lot of damage. I mean, I knew what he was trying to hope, you know, there would be a traffic jam right there, but sadly, no. He did not get to repeat the experience that he was, of course, subjected to with the heavy rocket barrage. Otherwise, that could probably have won him the game. Main gun destroyed on the tank destroyer. Casualties are being suffered. Riflemen are dying. Panther is going to get sticky bombed. Panther and Panzer IV unleashing hell upon the American infantry. While on the other side, things are looking less great. Still, though, Tommy's in fact holding the majority of the victory points. Still, he's in fact holding all 3, and he is in fact probably just now going for a different strategy. He's not trying to sort of even really establish a front line. He's just hoping to drain Hans of victory points. And again, with the 2 snipers who essentially just kill anyone trying to go for the victory point, that could work. Although he actually needs to shoot them. But apparently decides against it. And again, he's now just rushing in infantry. Again, just hoping for off-map combat groups to replace his losses. Damaged engine on the Panzer IV. Volksgrenadier retreating. More rockets of doom. And flying around the ears of poor Private Roberts. Slowing down a bit again. The offensive spirit of Tommy has been ground down by ceaseless fighting with the 112th Panzer Brigade. As the Panzer IV moves in, scores a kill on a tank destroyer who could even get a second one. Oh, the wreckage of the former one survives. Takes the shot. Panzer IV decides it's time to get out of there. Anyways, of course, we have something to look forward to next week with Gamescom. We should hopefully get to see something of Comedy 2 and, of course, more details. Should really be fun. Panther moving up. Panzer IV in repairs. Dum dum dum. Hans is regaining control of the victory points. Pioneers moving up, and oh, Panther moving forwards, but he could get hit by flank, or of course could run into an off-map combat group. Sticky bombs, sticky bombs. Pioneers down, sniper fire. Rocket fire hammering away at the American positions. Panzer force moving in. Rather heroically as he's trying to deal with that Panther with his sticky bombs. Repair pioneers, more rockets. Trying to catch the rifleman, trying to protect the Panther. Off-map combat group. Oh! Blimey.
Allies are down to 2.
The last thing Tommy needs right now is 2 mortars. But again, that's rather what happens when you decide to only rely on the off-map combat group. I mean, you live by the off-map combat group, you die by the off-map combat group. I mean, you can get really lucky or you can get a really, really bad call-ins like this one. I mean, that's rather, you know, the double-edged sword side of it. It can give you some great stuff or it can just, you know, sort of leave you, oh, great, how am I supposed to win with this? And that's rather the hand dealt to Tommy right now. Knights, of course, have in fact arrived. Snipers continue to fire away, and he's 30 and 55 kills. Moving up here in the west, smoke laying down right there to protect the riflemen as they advance. Barely any infantry left. And again, going for this again, he's just basically sacrificed his mortars to lay down one hell of a smoke cover. Rockets clearing out the mortars, I fear.
Our front lines are collapsing.
Riflemen dying, everything's dying in fact. Grenade on the Volksgrenadiers. And the Goliath sneaks into his base. Oh, Hans, you devious bastard. And more rockets. Trieste center almost down.
Ready for the crowd. Mortar squad is under fire.
And this mortar is in trouble. Put mildly. Panzers up, pushing on. The Panzer Brigade now has the full advantage. Mortar squad down. Tank destroyers not really in good condition to resist any further German assault. Out of control, in fact.
They've destroyed our barracks. Enemy unit down.
Panzer IV, Panther moving in. And going straight for the jugular of Tommy. He's going straight for the armor, the only thing that could even prove to be a slight hindrance anymore. Could be losing. Oh! Sherman gets the Panzer IV, but then the main gun gets destroyed. And the Panther's probably going to finish it off. Knights Cross moving in. Panzerfaust on the M10. Panzerschreck knocks out the main gun. Troops are getting suppressed.
Enemy unit.
And the rockets just keep flying. And there we go. All armor gone. Largely all of what Tommy possesses is gone. German infantry getting pushed away, but still looking grim. I will say this though, he's really gotten a lot out of his snipers. I mean, combined they've gotten close to 100 kills. I mean, that's just insane. But still, in the end, though, availed him nothing. But it definitely gave him a much greater edge, and for a longer time he just really wasn't able to, I think, use it properly. And there we go.
Sniper killed in action.
Finally one of the snipers die. Finally. What's he crying about? Oh, please, you just had 2 snipers walk the battlefield as a pair of angels of death, and you're complaining that a Panther got it. Boo-hoo. Anyways, let's just be there. I think this is pretty much it. He's lost all courage. More rockets. Moving in there. Veterancy free for the Panzers. Giving armored skirts, which mainly protects against sticky bombs, bazookas, and recoilless rockets. PS, such like that. Not really a huge advantage against armor. Oh, I wouldn't say it was unimpressive. There were some mistakes, but not unimpressive. Not unimpressive, otherwise I wouldn't be showing it.
Enemy unit down.
And yeah, let's just finish off this bit. GG. Game over. Rather close from Tommy, but again, I do think in those essential moments his courage faltered, and he let that Panzer IV live for a bit too long than it should have been. I mean, I think had he been able to get that and be able to sort of establish a more solid front line, he could have won this game, or for example, also, you know, been a bit more aggressive with mines. Again, I think it was more a case of missed opportunities that rather allowed Hans to grasp his opportunities, and that gained the advantage very slowly. I mean, it was a pretty close fight at several times. The snipers really did terrible damage. 60 kills, I mean, come on. Nowadays, that would probably make him a war criminal. Anyways, I mean, good fight, a nice play by Tommy, but again, I do think he needs to work a bit more on, you know, seizing opportunities, you know, carpe scrotum or whatever, you know, seize the enemy by the balls and crush them. So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, and of course, remember to place mines. Cheers.